The Nightreign lore proves that Elden Ring's story isn't over. What if every path we took, every ending we fought for, was a red herring? For years, the Elden Ring community has been searching for a clue, a sign of what comes next for the lands between. We've dug through item descriptions, translated ancient ruins, and mapped the very stars in the sky. What if the greatest hint about Elden Ring's future wasn't an official expansion, but in a ghost story? A legend born from the community itself, a sprawling work of fan theory, so detailed, so true to the game's own rules, that it was accidentally proven by Elden Ring's story so far finished. No, we are not talking about anything that we have confirmed as canon. We're talking about an idea, a shared myth. We're exploring the legend of Nightreign and the fan-made tree golem ending. It's a saga that, without meaning to, stumbled upon the cyclical truth that From Software has been weaving all along. A truth that completely changes how we look at the very concept of an ending in this world. It all boils down to one provocative question. What happens when the gods just leave? Of all the ways our journey can conclude, only one truly throws the future into question. Ronnie's Age of Stars. It's the most popular and by far the most mysterious ending. Ronnie doesn't just patch up the Golden Order. She ushers in a new age and then departs with her consort.
Well then, shall we?
On a 1,000-year voyage into the cosmos, but we don't need to talk about that. She severs the oppressive influence of the greater will, giving the world a terrifying new freedom. It's the only ending that feels like a truly blank page. A world without gods, without an Erd tree, without a guiding light. And it is on this blank page that the community wrote its most compelling story. The story of Nightreign. This massive collective work imagines the world that follows the Age of Stars. It describes a land called Limveld, caught in an eternal night where the Erd tree is just a memory. Its people, the Nightfarers, fight against a creeping darkness led by a figure called Holster, the Nightlord. It's a world where grace is faded and the old gods are forgotten. A perfect, logical consequence of Ronnie's departure. This story climaxes with a choice: restore a shadow of the old world or build something new. This is quite literally portrayed as the seed of the Erd tree falls into the hands of the tree golem. The most fascinating path leads to the creation of a massive tree golem, a living fortress of wood and stone built by mortal hands to be a new anchor of reality. We watch the golem walk away with the seed of the Erd tree to go who knows where and create who knows what. A powerful symbol for a world that has to build its own salvation. Of course, this is just my theory. A game theory. Don't sue me, Mad Pat. Nightreign gives us 3 different events to be potentially canon, but this is just the one that makes the most sense in correlation with Ronnie's ending, which is speculated to be the true ending for the Elden Lord. But what makes this idea so powerful is how its core themes perfectly mirror the secret history of the lands between. It proves that the community, trying to guess the future, has actually uncovered the deepest patterns of the past. So why is a mortal-made tree such a potent idea? Because to understand the future, we have to look to the distant past, long before the Golden Order and an age of primordial life called the Crucible. The Crucible was a time when all life was blended together, a chaotic soup of raw, vital energy. Descriptions for the aspects of the Crucible call this a manifestation of the Erd tree's primal vital energies, where life hadn't yet been forced into separate, distinct forms. Things we now see as monstrous, horns, wings, scales, and tails, were once considered signs of divinity. The crucible talismans describe these features as signifiers of the divine in ancient times. Now seen as impure by the Golden Order, even the crucible knights, who served Godfrey himself, channeled the power of this primordial life, a power that directly contradicts the rigid order that Monica would later enforce. But here's the most critical piece of lore. The armor of the crucible knights states it holds the power of the crucible of life, the primordial form of the Erd Tree. This proves the Erd Tree as we know it wasn't the beginning. It was a refinement, an act of imposing order on something that was once wild and untamed. This is what makes the tree golem theory so accidentally brilliant. It pictures a future where, without an Erd Tree, mortals are forced to build a substitute. They are, in their own way, trying to recreate the function of the Erd Tree. This act perfectly mirrors the origins of the actual Erd Tree, which was itself a kind of golem, a construct of the greater will shaped from the life force of the crucible to impose its will on the world. I mean, after all, if you have actually seen the surrounding perimeter of the Nightreign Limveld, you will find these shadow golems being attracted and pulled quite literally against their will towards the memory of the Erd Tree. By pure intuition tapped into the game's deepest cycle, taming chaos into the shape of a great tree is what this theory is. From Software's worlds are built on cycles. Dark Souls has fire and dark. Bloodborne has the hunt. Elden Ring is no different. Its history is a long story of ages rising and falling, gods replacing gods, and orders being violently overthrown. The Golden Order wasn't the first power. The ancient dragons of Farum Azula had their own lord and god long before Marika showed up. The fire giants worshipped a fell god. The Nox people of the Eternal Cities dreamed of an age of the stars long before Ronnie, and the rise of the Erd Tree was a conquest. Marika built her own age through war, and the Shadow of the Erd Tree expansion shows the brutal cost of that victory. Monica first arrived and wiped out another culture in an unsung battle. But you don't have to take that from me. Just play the Shadow of the Erd Tree DLC. You find that out within the first 5 minutes. With the people of the Shadow quite literally pining for Miquella to step in and redeem them, you have nothing but to experience the ash and destruction of Marika's wake, and why Miquella separated from Marika in the first place. But that's a completely different topic. We don't talk about Miquella here. This pattern of violent replacement is everywhere. Even our own endings are just another spin of the wheel. The Age of Fracture is just more of the broken status quo. The Age of Order tries to protect the Golden Order, but it's the same order. The Blessing of Despair and Age of the Dustborn are just new brands of existence under the same cosmic management. Only two endings truly threaten to break the pattern. The Lord of Frenzied Flame, which wants to melt everything into a primordial one, and Ronnie's Age of Stars, which removes the gods from the equation entirely, and quite literally paves the way for a tree giant to become the new Erd Tree. And that's why the Nightreign theory feels so right. It takes the most radical ending and asks, okay, so now what? The answer isn't peace. It's a new struggle. A new cycle begins, driven not by gods, but by mortals. They build their tree golem not from divine power, but from desperation and a remnant seed of an Erd Tree long past. And by doing so, they are fated to repeat the mistakes of the past, not unlike our own world. That golem, born of hope, could one day become just as oppressive as the Erd Tree that made it. The saviors could become the new tyrants, and the cycle continues. In Nightreign Holster, the Nightlord and the Tree Golem don't really exist hand in hand. After all, after you give the corpse the Nightreign's rune, you don't actually know how long the Erd Tree's shadow has remained intact before the seed was given to the giant. The only thing that we know is you fell the Nightlord, your ghost moves on into the circle of life, and one day, a seed lands in the hand of a giant. That's the canon event, if you aren't including the bloody destruction that is the secret Iron Eye ending, but no one knows if that's canon or not. That could just be an Easter egg leading back to the assassins in the Limveld world. So why analyze a ghost story, Aurora? Because in trying to imagine a sequel, this theory perfectly reverse engineered the prequel that the Shadow of the Erd Tree gave us. The DLC confirms that Queen Marika wasn't always a god. She came from the land of the shadows, a place with its own people and its own shamanistic culture that revealed the crucible, the very same crucible that was damned in our tarnished era. An interview with Miyazaki confirmed the Land of Shadow is the place where Marika became a god. She didn't create the world, she quite literally remade it. She took the chaotic primordial energy of the crucible and, using the greater will's power, forged it into the Erd Tree, a symbol of unyielding order. In this theory, the tree golem and the Erd Tree from actual lore are born from the same idea: the need to give a formless world a center, a source of power and meaning. Again, not unlike our own world. Ironically, this theory imagines mortals doing this in the future. The official lore reveals that a mortal turned god did the exact same in the past, so why couldn't it happen again? Just like all of the other cyclical lore involved in every Souls-like imaginable. This points to the unspoken truth of Elden Ring's story. It isn't over, because the endings were never the end. They're just the catalyst for the next cycle, an age of stars. Where the gods have fled doesn't create peace in the world, not like Ronnie hoped it would. It creates a power vacuum. It resets the board to something like the primordial age before the Erd Tree, a world of chaos where new powers will inevitably rise to impose their own order. And in a way, the chaos ending kind of got what it wanted without burning everything down to the ground. Because the true chaos lies in humans themselves. And Ronnie, putting her faith in you, the Elden Lord, kind of paved the way for humans to, well, quite literally fuck it up. It leads to a new world of chaos, where new powers will inevitably rise up to impose their own order. And that is the quiet genius of From Software's storytelling. It doesn't just invite us to guess what's next. It gives us the patterns to make those guesses meaningful. The Nightreign theory feels so real because it uses the game's own cyclical logic. But what do you think? Are the lands between doomed to repeat their violent history no matter what ending we choose? Or can the cycle finally be broken for good? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy thinking about the deep-seated ideas of the world, pun intended, consider subscribing for more. The story of Nightreign and its tree golem proves that we instinctively understand the soul of the lands between. Nothing is ever truly over. Endings are just beginnings in disguise. The Erd Tree was born from the chaos of the Crucible. Its golden order wiped out the cultures that came before it, and if that Erd Tree falls, gods abandon their creation. Something new will rise in its place. Whether it's a golem of wood and stone, a new outer god from the cosmos, or a quiet return of a forgotten power, the struggle of the lands between can't end. The world George R.R. Martin and Hidetaka Miyazaki built isn't a story with a final chapter. It's a history, forever being written and rewritten. The end of our story as Tarnished was never the end of the story. It was simply the end of a single, bloody, brilliant age. And now a new one is waiting to be born from its ashes. I mean, quite literally. I mean, you quite literally see a golem rise from the ashes to receive the seed of the Erd Tree. If you enjoyed this theory, make sure you subscribe, like the video, and hit the notification bell. And if you don't like the video, you can dislike it too. Trust me, it's okay. I allow it. My name is Aurora, and I will see you at the next tea time. Bye-bye!